Well, in reaction to the court ruling, Rivers State Governor Uche says it has become clear that Uche Secondus is an enemy of the party. He says the PDP will not allow any individual or group of individuals to derail its rescue mission as captured by the theme of the convention.
It is not only dismiss the application, the court has been made further order that PDP should be unrestrained from conducting their convention. Because, you know, in this period we are, somebody could by 2 p.m. go to one court somewhere and get an injunction stopping our convention. So Court of Appeal as if knowing the circumstance, knowing Nigeria and our politicians, that anything could be done. They didn't say, we dismiss this application. They went further to say nothing should restrain, nothing should make PDP not to conduct their convention. And it is clear, we are very happy.
Well, Governor of Rivers State there, Uche, to discuss the outcome of the court ruling and the legal implications for Secondus and the PDP as well. Let's bring in a RISE analyst and lawyer, Barrister Frank Tietie. Barrister Frank Tietie, glad to have you join me.
Thank you, always my pleasure.
Good. What does this leave our jurisprudence, and what does this say of internal democracy of the parties?
Well, the issues are different. Interestingly, this does not have anything to do with the internal democracy of the People's Democratic Party. Rather, it has to do with whether or not the court has exercised its jurisdiction properly to interpret the constitutional provisions of the PDP to the extent that the Uche Secondus has gone on appeal, but before the main appeal could be heard, he actually filed for an interim injunction to stop the PDP convention, which was later converted to an interlocutory application because the other party was actually heard, there were arguments, and to a large extent the court decried it and considered it mischievous and capricious to consider to stop a convention to which money has been expended. The entire the PDP nationwide has planned to hold a convention, and for one reason or the other, considering illegal rights, which the court does not see in existence, because the personal right of Uche Secondus cannot override that of the entire PDP. And by the way, it's not actually supposed to be his personal rights, but the rights of this office.
Well, let me ask you this. Secondus, like you had there, says he will appeal the judgment because, let me quote him, no abuse of the constitution of our dear party should be allowed to stand. If he appeals and wins or otherwise, paint for us the scenario, what it will look like.
All right, you know, in our country, because of the appellate process that we run, if he goes and appeals to the Supreme Court now, to do what? First and foremost, the appeal at the Court of Appeal, the main appeal has not yet been heard. It is the interim, or rather now interlocutory application to get a sort of an immediate relief that has been dismissed. So he's likely going to win or lose in the Court of Appeal itself. But there's still a further window of appeal to the Supreme Court. It would have scored a very strong political victory if he stopped the convention, and that would have practically dispensed with the entire case, because his aim is actually to flex some muscles with the party. He would have remained the chairman. He would have actually organized the convention, and then would have exercised.
I'm not cutting you, Frank.
Yes.
What he says, what he's arguing, I mean, aside the stopping of the convention, is that by their constitution, PDP now, the local authorities in his party do not have the right to sack him as chairman. That it is vested on the NEC. That's what he's actually fighting.
The state of the law, the state of the fact, the state of the situation right now is that Uche Secondus remains suspended because his ward suspended him. This is not new, because it has happened to Adams Oshiomhole in the APC. And he has attempted to challenge that suspension, because the people who were behind the suspension quickly ran to court to interpret the position of the Constitution in favor of the action that they have taken. So Uche Secondus has lost. The state of affairs right now is that he has not only lost, He cannot stop the convention, and he can only pursue his appeal. And even if he wins, the status quo at that time would be that there would be an already existing NWC, already existing NEC that will also pursue an appeal. So it's not immediate.
No, but the chairman is not the chairman until December. Are you?
And I can assure you that the appeal at the Court of Appeal will not be dispensed with between now and December 7th. So, you see, tactically, legally, it's going to be a very tough battle for Uche Secondus. And then politically, I'm afraid he doesn't have enough muscle to actually withstand the storm.
Let me ask you this question. What's your disposition to the courts having to adjudicate over matters of internal affairs of political parties? You know why I said this? Because in some cases, some courts have had to tell political parties, you cannot go against your own constitution.
Oh yes, that is the role of the court indeed, to interpret the constitution itself, and together with laws and rules, even rules of association. But you see, there are what we refer to as political questions that the court would not really want to inquire into, and more or less have to do with issues that have to do with internal democracy, the operations of the National Assembly, but not a political party where you have members go approach the court with the constitution of the party, telling the court, help us to interpret the intention of those who made this constitution for our party. The court does have jurisdiction to do that, and it doesn't in any way truncate or interfere with the internal running or democracy of the political party. So the courts are perfectly in order. They have exercised their powers under Section 6 of the Constitution to solve the conflict within the PDP. Right now, as we see, passing through Eagle Square this night, you can see draped in the PDP
even when I was passing
with lightings everywhere. It means that there is peace. But think about it: if the court had not intervened, if political forces had to, flex their muscles in terms of influence and who had their way, they would now be accusing the ruling political party as being behind all of the troubles. Yes, but in this case, you can see that the very role of the judiciary has been, been made very important here by the fact that there is no more conflict. It has been resolved.
Because otherwise there will be chaos. All right, there's this question of the time spent in adjudicating cases. Couldn't this have been decided in time enough for both parties to have a leeway to do, whatever they want to do? This was just a day to the convention.
No, but I think you should commend the judiciary. Sometimes there are provisions for accelerated processes of hearing, and that's what has happened. And the court did not fail to reprimand Uche Secondus for being too tactical. You said he had sufficient time to have approached the court for the court to resolve even the substantial issues before making an application. And they thought it was being, the court was even mild. If it was the Supreme Court, and it probably would be well guided as they approach the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court can be very hard in, dealing with persons that they thought are bringing frivolous applications to it. And that he waited so that the time would be so close to the convention. And the judiciary was smart to the extent that if it hadn't, like in some cases, it would have just adjourned it until after the convention. Unfortunately, and that is the position of the law, completed acts cannot be reversed in law. An injunction cannot be issued against a completed act except in extremely serious cases.
So let me understand you. What has happened now? They're going to hold a convention.
Oh, yes.
Are you saying, from what you said, that if Uche Secondus wins, this stays?
Now, Uche Secondus can no longer get an injunction to create any effect against what happens tomorrow or day after tomorrow. That's what it means. But the substantive appeal that is to be heard after the judgment of the Court of Appeal has been reached, even if it's in favor of Uche Secondus, is not the end. Uche Secondus is not here to hurrah for him. It cannot immediately be reinstated. Rather, there will be processes with regards to application for stay of execution, application, a further appeal to the Supreme Court, and all of this will end up at the end of
Barrister Frank,
time will have gone, and probably interest would have been lost.
We'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for your interesting legal view to this matter. Barrister Frank Tietie, a Rise analyst, for being on the program. Thank you. We'll be back in a short while. Stay with us.